When it comes to multiple choice, I honestly find the best way to go about doing it is to read, cross out, underline, or highlight. So what that means is you start off by reading the question carefully. Sometimes, you are nervous when you go into that exam room. You don't feel like you're gonna smash it out. I mean, you may go in feeling like I'm ready, but generally it's like, oh, okay, this is a bit nerve-wracking. You may feel nervous despite feeling okay, despite feeling confident, but nonetheless, it can happen, things happen, you can have that foggy brain moment for a second where you just don't read the question carefully. So read the question carefully, be very conscious about it, say every word like loud out in your head, not in the exam room, in your head. Then read every single answer, highlight the keywords in every single answer, and then cross out the incorrect or the incorrect part of the question. So it may not always be like evident from the get-go which one's correct, which one's not correct, but try and cross it out from the get-go. Like, there'd be that one question, like that one answer that's always blaringly wrong, another one that's definitely like 75% wrong, and then there are two questions, and then there are two generally options left. One is like the right one is like really close to right, but there's something going on in the answer there. So you want to cross out the two of them, the two obviously wrong ones, and then think about which one is it between the remaining two, and like cross out the incorrect part of one of them, and hopefully that will leave you with the right question, so with the right answer. So have a go with this question. This is one of the HSC questions. Which type of cancer are people who work outside most at risk of developing? So I'm going to give you 2 seconds to think about it. Okay, so firstly, we can eliminate bowel cancer because that doesn't really have much to do with being outside, so you can eliminate bowel cancer. Then think about it. Breast cancer can also go. Again, being outside, not as much genetic factors play a huge role in breast cancer, and also like lifestyle factors and age and so on. Then you can eliminate cervical cancer as well, because again, not much to do with being outside, it's more so genetic and hereditary and lifestyle too. So that leaves us with one, which is skin cancer, and that would be the right answer. So when it comes to short answer questions, look at the directive term. So understand the verb. What is it asking you? If it's asking you to what extent, give a quantified judgment: to a significant extent, to a great extent, to lesser extent, to a medium extent. Describe would then ask you to give if the question is describe, give me the characteristics and the features. If it's outline, sketch in general terms. So look at the directive term. Then look at what part of the syllabus it comes from. With PDHPE, one of the main pathways to success is to know the syllabus really, really well. Like with PD questions, especially your higher marks questions, sometimes they're literally just one whole dot point, and you have to talk about everything in that dot point. And that's you have to remember what comes underneath each one and give lots of examples. So know your syllabus, know what is underneath every dot point, and then be able to give examples. Then look at the mark allocation, right? And that will help you determine how much you actually sort of need to write. So in a very, very general very generalization, like a very big generalization, is go 1 mark is 3 lines. It's very general, but that's sort of about it. Maybe 2.5 lines, but I think that's sort of a good general indicator to go by. And the number of lines that they give you is usually the amount that they expect you to write, but you can definitely go more if need be, but obviously don't spend too much time on your 3-4 markers and then ignore your and then ignore your 7, 8, 9 markers. So let's have a look at this question. Describe the determinants of health that affect a preventable condition in Australia other than cancer. So in this case, let's start off by firstly looking at what the directive term is. It's describe. So we need to give the characteristics and features of the determinants of health. Then identify the determinants. So those determinants would be sociocultural, socioeconomic, and geographical. Identify a preventable condition other than cancer. So you can use the others that are listed in the syllabus. Some include CVD, mental health, diabetes, injuries, and other ones. So you can use any of those. And then clearly describe how the determinants impact the prevalence and incidence of the condition. So this is where we need to link the determinants to actually the prevalence and incidence of that condition that you have chosen. And it's 4 marks. So another rule that I kind of like to follow is for every mark, aim for about, for per mark, aim for about 2 minutes. And I think that's a good sort of general rule to follow. It means you would have plenty of time at the end to go back and check your paper. But yeah, again, like it's personal, like a generalized thing, but you can obviously go to the paper, calculate, like it's a 3-hour exam. It's 3-hour exams, 180 minutes, 100 marks, and you can do the sort of the calculation there. Awesome. So in extended responses, have an intro sentence. Doesn't have to be fancy, just make sure you understand the question, the syllabus, and you're providing a direct answer to the question. Your opinion matters, get straight to the point, you don't have to waffle, and do not limit yourself early. So 1 to 2 intro sentences are more than enough, generally 1's enough. Let's have a look at this. This is an example response. So mental health is a preventable condition affecting many Australians. Now this tells me what condition I'm looking at other than cancer. Straight to the point. Sociocultural determinants include the influence of peers, media, and societal pressures. So now that's telling you what the sociocultural determinants are. For many women, body image influences their feeling of self-confidence and happiness. They often feel pressure to diet as a result of the media images and expectations to look thin. This need for society and peer acceptance leads to young women feeling anxious, and in some cases leads to anorexia and bulimia as a result of their low sense of self-worth. Young men living in rural isolated communities can also suffer from depression. Increasing rates of male suicide are in part due to the lack of appropriate support services located in rural areas. This environmental determinant is caused by living in a remote location, leading to social isolation. So now I'm talking about the geographical determinant, and not being able to access appropriate health services. Example, headspace. So give examples. Do not miss out on examples. When they're struggling to manage their mental health, is detrimental for young rural men. So we've got a definition and identification sentence. We have identification and explanation of those determinants. We also have examples and links to the condition. So that is really important. You want to be able to go, this is what happened, this is why it's happening. And that's that. So for your extended responses body paragraphs, method 1 is using syllabus dot points. I think that's a really good method to go by. So short paragraphs explaining the dot points connected to the syllabus. Method 2 can be to use examples, like using different sports as a way to propel your arguments. That would work for this core. Not as much for core 1, but again, it would depend. But I liked method 1 the most. And then you can also look at it through the lens of athletes and individuals who are suffering health condition as well. That also works. Okay, extended responses. So when it comes to conclusions, straight to the point, 1 to 3 sentences max. Include a summary of the points you've discussed, and address the question. Sorry, it's so light. Address the question by connecting back to it. You need to connect back to the question, and that's really important. My general tips: read the multiple choice questions as soon as you get into the room. Well, when the reading time starts. In the reading time, make sure you read the elective questions too. Remember, you're only doing the 2 that you've studied, and make sure when you do them, you write down on the paper the question you're answering. Never spend too much time on one section. Watch the clock, watch your handwriting. Really annoying, but you have to. Make sure you understand the verb, and remember to stay with contemporary data and examples. So aim for about last 5 years, and then breathe. You'll be okay. Have some fun. It is your last year of high school, and you guys are going to smash it out. And